Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise, get straight to the insights. And today, wow, we're tackling a financial story well, it's pretty remarkable. A company just soaring to become the world's largest, hitting a market value nobody's seen before. We are talking about Nvidia, of course, and its incredible climb, specifically how it hit $4 trillion in market value. And the big question on everyone's mind, really, can it actually hit $5 trillion this year? So our deep dive today is pulling from a really insightful article called Nvidia's March to $5 trillion and AI Behemoth's Ascent. Think of this as your shortcut, to really get a handle on one of the biggest business stories happening right now. We'll unpack what's driving this huge growth, what it could mean for tech, for investing. And as we go, maybe ask yourself, what part of this Nvidia story really grabs you or, surprises you the most? So, okay, how did Nvidia pull this off? I mean, the big takeaway, the real eye-opener, they didn't just become the biggest company in the world, they blasted through to $4 trillion in market value this year. Unprecedented. And that means they overtook giants like Apple and Microsoft, companies that honestly seemed locked in at the top for ages. It really feels like a fundamental shift in what the market values now.
Yeah, it's really something. And what's truly insightful here is that it's not just about making chips. It's about their specific design. Their GPUs, graphics processing units. These are the things making complex AI calculations possible at scale. They essentially built the picks and shovels for this whole AI gold rush way before most people saw how big it would get.
Oh.
And that's where it gets really interesting, right? Because these aren't just parts. They're the actual brains powering the AI revolution.
Yeah.
Without them, training those big AI models would be, well, incredibly slow and expensive.
And the speed of it all. Just astonishing. The article points out Nvidia's market cap jumped from less than $1 trillion. That was just back in June 2023. Think about that.
Yeah.
Under $1 trillion to $4 trillion in roughly a year. I mean, Apple and Microsoft were way ahead back then. It's just, it's hard to wrap your head around, isn't it?
It really is. And stepping back, you can see this accelerating AI boom was the direct fuel. For NVIDIA's revenue, sure, but also, crucially, for investor excitement. That's what let them leapfrog the others. Now, Apple and Microsoft, they're definitely in AI, but NVIDIA has this unique sort of foundational role, and they've benefited massively from this wave so far. And just to put some numbers on it, in their last fiscal year, revenue didn't just grow, it exploded, triple digits, cleared $130 billion, all driven by that huge customer demand for their chips and, the related stuff they offer. And there's definitely good reason to think this momentum can keep going. NVIDIA has really built this, the article calls it an empire of AI offerings, designed for all sorts of different customer needs. And they have this deep knowledge, right? They can see what's coming, design the next best thing. It really changes the game for a growth stock.
That's a great point. And another thing from the article, NVIDIA's promised to update its GPUs every single year, constantly making them more efficient. How big a deal is that for companies actually using AI? Does it really save them money or give them an edge long term?
Oh, it's incredibly significant.
Yeah.
For you, the listener, think about it like this. The faster you can train your AI model, the less it costs you over time. Simple as that. So it's a clear win for their customers. It keeps them ahead of the curve because NVIDIA keeps making AI cheaper and faster to develop.
Right. Okay. So given this whole incredible journey, let's get to that big question from the article. The path to $5 trillion. It says NVIDIA's stock is around, $171 right now. Market cap about $4.2 trillion. So getting from $4.2 trillion to $5 trillion, that's about a 20% jump needed.
Right. And technically speaking, the author reckons that 20% jump, very easy for NVIDIA to accomplish over a period of a few months. Now, that would push up their valuation metric, the price to earnings ratio, the trailing one, from 55 up to maybe 66, which is higher, yeah, but the assessment is it's not ridiculous for a top-tier growth stock like this. It basically means investors are still okay paying a premium because they accept big things ahead. So the author's conclusion, technically, NVIDIA clearly could reach $5 trillion in 2025 without the valuation getting totally crazy. Looking at the big picture, it seems pretty plausible. But that brings up a really important point, doesn't it? The market's just unpredictable. So how do investors square that? Balance the strong technical picture we're seeing with that short-term volatility. What's the key thing for listeners thinking about, say, short versus long-term plays here?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the $5 trillion question here. Yeah, the article definitely flags this. It says it's flat out impossible to predict what a stock or the market will do over a few months. Because stuff just happens, unexpected things. The example they give is President Trump's import tariff plan announcement this spring. That hit stocks temporarily. I mean, who saw that specific announcement coming, right? and its immediate ripple effect. So yeah, the technicals might look solid, but the real world, it always has surprises. But even with that uncertainty, the author's overall take, based on what we know now, is pretty optimistic. Quite bullish, actually. They say it's very possible that Nvidia, because of its huge growth and solid prospects, may not only continue as the world's biggest company in 2025, but the AI behemoth also could reach the next milestone of $5 trillion in market value in the next 5.5 months. So pretty soon.
Interesting. But then the article throws in this curveball, a different perspective. It specifically mentions that the Motley Fool Stock Advisor analyst team just identified what they believe are the 10 best stocks for investors to buy now. And Nvidia wasn't one of them.
Right. That's fascinating, isn't it? A really valuable counterpoint. And, this particular service, Stock Advisor, they have a strong track record. Some amazing past calls mentioned, like $1,000 in Netflix back when they recommended it in December 2004 would be over $650,000 now. And even Nvidia itself. $1,000 back in April 2005 when they picked it. Over $1 million today. Just incredible returns. Their claimed average return overall is like 1,048% versus 180% for the S&P 500. So they've clearly done well, but their current list doesn't include Nvidia, which just highlights, even top experts see things differently. What's the best opportunity right now?
Exactly. So what's the takeaway here for you, the listener? Well, the article shows Nvidia's massive potential, that seemingly clear path to $5 trillion. But then it also shows this specific investment service saying, hey, maybe look elsewhere right now. It's just a really powerful reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Consider different views and, like the source advises, think about the long term, especially with these super high growth companies.
So there you have it, our deep dive into Nvidia's, well, truly unprecedented rise, all fueled by its AI dominance. We've looked at that potential path to $5 trillion. Seems plausible, technically, but we also got that crucial reminder, market predictions. Even for a giant like Nvidia, always tricky, always uncertain, and it's so important to look at different expert opinions.
Definitely. And as we wrap up, maybe something to chew on. Given how fast companies like Nvidia are literally reshaping the global economy, it's dizzying. What new benchmarks of value, of influence might we see in the next decade? Driven by AI, other new tech, and maybe more fundamentally, what does this all mean for how we even understand growth itself? Something to think about.